All right, I got one more for you. Okay. Okay. So again, gets a little tedious at times, I know, but we gotta do it, and you gotta make sure you have everything right. Okay. Your amplitude is 1/2. Your K value, 4. Okay. Here's where the tricky parts start to come in. Your period. It's always, remember, follow this, right? It's 2 pi divided by your K, which is 4. So your period is going to be pi over 2. Okay, for your increments, what you're going to count by on the graph, you're going to take that pi over 2 and you're going to divide it by 4. Okay, now remember, that is always 4. It just happens to be that K and 4 at the same time. All right, now, so that would be, don't take your time through these. Don't rush through it. Think about it, right? It's pi over 2 divided by 4 or times 1/4, sorry. Keep, change, flip, multiply by the reciprocal, however you guys like to say it. Okay, so our increments are going to be pi over 8. Our phase shift, pi over 2, right? No, divide it by K. Okay, you just did that, which is kind of nice. And it's a positive. It's a negative inside up here, so that means we're going to the right. Okay, and our vertical shift is up 3 or plus 3. Okay, so you're counting by 1/8, right? Pi over 8, 2 pi over 8 or pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8 or pi over 2. Again, this number and this number are the same. And then make them negative. Small tip, if you have a really sharp, keep your pencil sharp and draw as small as you can, okay? If you have a dull pencil, it's harder, you'd make bigger lines and it's harder to draw smaller. Write as small as you can, but as long as it's legible, okay? You don't want to have to mess things up. All right, our amplitude is 1/2. Okay, so if you want, I didn't give myself a ton of room here. Let's go up more. I'm going to skip and go every other. Because our amplitude is 1/2, I'm going to do that. You don't have to. I just kind of like doing it that way. All right. Again, our first thing, we're moving to the right, pi over 8. So that's going to be our first x value, right? And then use your things, right? Pi over 4 is next, then 3 pi over 8, then pi over 2. Okay, we're using sine, right? So you're using the 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. Got it right that time. Okay, so 1/2 times 0 plus 3 is 3.5. 1/2 times 1 plus 3 is 4.5. I can't. Wow. Start that over. 1/2 times 0 plus 3 is 3. 1/2, that's 3.5. That's 3. That would be 2.5. Again, take your time. I didn't. Was just kind of going through the motions a little bit there, screwed it up. Okay, don't do that. Take your time, go through it right, make sure it works. Okay. I'm pretty good at being able to catch myself as soon as I make those mistakes. You guys probably not so much, so take your time. All right, pi over 8, 3. Pi over 4, 3.5. Okay, 3 pi over 8, we're back to 3. and pi over 2, we're at 2.5. Okay, let's make these right here. Again, if you need to, keep going. I ran myself out of room, but you're on your graph paper, you won't. So if you need to, keep going if you want to make that full rotation, right? That would be like there. But then follow the pattern. You went down a half, up a half, up a half, down a half, right? Down a half, up a half, up a half, down a half, down. Okay? And then you got your graph. Okay? Well, let's fix that. And again, I have one nice, consistent, it looks the same. There's no like break, there's no weird turn. It's not like, it doesn't do one thing on this side and another thing on that side. It's one smooth wave going all the way through. All right? Hopefully that's enough for you guys to help you with your graphing.